All right. All right, guys. Thank you again for coming and taking your Thursday night time to join us and our guest speaker. And we're going to have some testimonials that you'll love to hear from on different ways that the MetaPower system has helped these wonderful variety of people that will be sharing with us. So I'm really excited to be able to hear from them, but I'm most excited. Well, I guess I'm most excited for both, right? But I'm really excited to be able to invite Ashley Anderson to our call today. She was in Columbus about 2 weeks ago for our post-convention tour, and I got to hear her speak for the second time. And it was wonderful to be able to hear the testimony on that she had in regards to MetaPower. So Dr. Ashley Anderson received a Master of Science in Nursing with a Women's Health Nurse Practitioner specialty in 2008. She has a certificate in health professionals education in 2012 that she received and a Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing in 2016, all from the University of Louisville. She received her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from Berea College in 2005. She was a record-holding team captain for Berea's college women's basketball team, which I was so excited because I love sports. I love college sports. So I was really excited to hear that. And Dr. Anderson participated in beauty pageants to take advantage of additional scholarship opportunities as she pursued her education. She won Miss Kentucky, United States 2013, Miss Black Ohio in 2010, and was crowned the first Miss University of Louisville in 47 years when the competition returned to campus in 2008. Dr. Anderson is the founder and CEO of Athena Health and Wellness, a women's health practice that is the first of its kind in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2020, she partnered with doTERRA and launched an essential oil business to help promote natural health care in the Western realm of medicine. She is a family planning specialist, trained researcher, author, certified health science educator, community activist, international runway model, actress, radio personality, and motivated speaker. Okay, are you guys like so excited to hear from her? And we're not even done. In 2016, Dr. Anderson was the recipient of the Guy Stevenson Award for Excellence in Graduate Studies, the highest honor in the University of Louisville gives to graduating doctoral students. In 2014, she was named Glamour Magazine Phenomenal Woman of the Year for Kentucky. Dr. Anderson is the executive director of the Miss Black Kentucky USA Scholarship Organization, where she works to empower young Black women through pageantry to develop leadership skills, confidence, and network to achieve their biggest goals in life. Wow, what an amazing, amazing heart you have. I'm so excited to have you, Ashley. She resides in Louisville. Shocking, right? She loves that city with her two sons, Atlas and Ace. So without further ado, Miss Ashley, would you like to share with us your testimony and on how MetaPower has affected you and what you've done with it since you were introduced to this product, and maybe a couple of tips for us that that we could take away from?
Sure. So first, thank you. I totally said you can pull something out of there.
I couldn't pull anything. It was so beautiful because you have earned all of those accolades. And I just wanted to give you the honor because you have worked so hard to get where you are today. So I am just proud of you. And I couldn't take anything away from that. So
I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to be here and chat with you tonight. I will definitely let you know that those two toddlers that you just mentioned are in the other room. They are vetivered down, so they should be like on the wind down, but just in case. So I would start by saying like MetaPower came into my life when I had all but given up on trying to get back in shape. Just like with some of the things that you read in my bio, I've seen my body at optimal, right? In great shape and healthy and felt good, able to run. I used to like pride myself in running 30 miles a week. Like I was like been there, right? But after kids, I had the two boys and they were 20 months apart, nursed them both, still working in my practice. And I just felt like I was fighting with that same 7 to 10 pounds for like years. And so I had this somewhat like come to Jesus moment with myself early in the summer, like, all right, girl, I think this is the new normal. I think you need to just accept the fact that this is mom body life, right? Like this is what it's going to be, and let it go. So I think right when I had kind of gotten to this point of like a sad acceptance, I got an email from Justine about this trial for MetaPower. And so I jumped on it because I was like, well, if anybody could help me with this, doTERRA can. And, you know, I think even in the space that I live and work in, I'm constantly working with women who are seeking to improve their metabolic health in one way or another. And so I thought, you know, if this could work for me, it's something that I can also vouch for my patients and let them know what my experience was. And they will also see the change in me because they see me pretty consistently. So I had so many unexpected benefits. I think I went into it thinking, okay, this will give me an extra boost. I was thinking like slim and sassy. I'll have a little extra energy. I'll be able to hopefully shed some fat and move on. The first day, I don't know if I've actually talked about this publicly or not, but my very first day taking MetaPower of the trial was the first day of the founders retreat in July. So the backstory to that was I flew, of course, from Kentucky to Salt Lake. My flight got delayed 4 times. So when I actually got to the hotel, it was 3 a.m. It was so late that the guy that was working at the front desk was chilling up there with no shoes on. He literally was like, well, they already checked you out, like assuming you weren't coming. So he walked me to my room with no shoes on, with the master key to let me in and he was like, yeah, you're fine. I don't think there's anyone in this room. And I'm like, you don't think there's anyone in this room? What? So yeah, it was a whirlwind, but I knew like we were supposed to be dressed ready in the lobby to leave and had breakfast by 8:45. So now it's 4 a.m. by the time I'm like actually getting settled, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a long day. And you all know Russell Butters and his life of energy, and he was like, it's gonna be an action-packed day. We got all this stuff, and I'm sitting here like, I'm not gonna make it. So woke up the next morning, I'm reading, you know, my instructions. I'm like, all right, let's do the soft gel. I put some MetaPower oil in my water bottle. Got to the elevator, got downstairs, and I was like, I'm here. Like, I am here. I felt like brain was like working. I had energy. I felt like my eyes were wide open. Like I had a good night's sleep, and I literally slept for 3 hours. And so I felt so good so fast that by the time we got to corporate, I walked up to Emily Wright and was like, you finally released your secret. Like, I get it now. Like, thank you. But that was like the first thing that I felt. And I was like, okay, there's something here. I'm really interested. And this is different, right? It's not the same slim and sassy that we had before. So I was so excited off of that first day. And so then over time, I started noticing a decreased desire for sweets. And I don't know how many of you have heard me talk before, but I have a problem with sugar. Okay, like this is a person who feels like sweets should go with every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and have actually told people before, like, oh, you don't really eat sweets, you're not American, you can't be my friend. And so I've noticed over time that I just don't have the same desire anymore. And even I had actually went to McDonald's for like the first time in like 6 months this week and got a high C orange, and I couldn't even drink it. I was just like, wow, I feel like my body has just changed to the point where those things that I desired and craved so much, like my body is like, we don't need that. And that level of sugar is too much for us. So that was absolutely shocking for me. The sleep, somebody just mentioned about them sleeping better. And as we went along in the trial, I felt, you know, I kept hearing people saying like, I'm getting the best sleep of my life and all this. And I'm like, well, I have toddlers that still wake up at night. And so my sleep was still broken, and I hadn't really felt any change in that capacity. But I realized my sleep is still the same. I'm sleeping the same amount. I'm still being woken up probably 2 times a night, maybe 3, but I'm more alert, cognitively more clear and able to function. I don't feel exhausted the way that I used to waking up in the mornings. And so I'm like, oh, that is a significant change. I just it wasn't like, oh, I'm sleeping these 8 consistent hours. It's just like the sleep that I am getting is more restful. The muscle tone, I think, what I didn't say was the amount of weight I lost. I started off, I lost 7 pounds in the first 10 days. And that was mind blowing. And that, of course, like, don't think that everybody has that same effect, but I think that what MetaPower is so amazing at is gives your body exactly what it needs in that moment. And I knew, like I told you, I'd been fighting with this weight for so long, and it was time to come off. I just wasn't, I guess, in the right space to do it and had the right product line. In the first 6 weeks, I dropped 14 pounds. And I literally cried getting on the scale the morning that I saw under 200, because I had fought so long. And it wasn't like I got on the scale and was like 199.7 or whatever. It was like 194.2. And I'd had like a rough week the week before. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is such a big deal. So when I say like, it changed everything, it literally, that was like all I needed to see it. Like I needed to see that in order as like motivation to keep going forward. So I think where I'm at today, I'm down 19 pounds. And the pictures that she's showing are my first 30 days. So the pictures on the left, front, back, and side, were at the very beginning. And then these were actually taken on day 28. So I was like, at first thinking, okay, I see the numbers going down, but I had not really paid attention to the inches until I saw the side-by-side pictures. So that was like mind-blowing for me. And then I've seen that, I guess, continuing on with the muscle tone, just in my body, in my abdomen, which I had not seen any level of muscle tone there in a long time, but she's coming back. And then I mentioned briefly knee stability. So I played basketball, of course, and I had a partially torn ACL my senior year in college. And I elected eventually not to have surgery because I needed to finish my clinical rotations and graduate. And I thought later in life, I'll probably have to fix that. Well, come to find out, the ACL was not actually torn. It was just like stretched. They called it like a partial tear. And so they said, I don't have to have surgery. You can just wear this like this ankle to hip brace if you decide to play basketball more. So that's what I did for a very long time. And then what I noticed in about, I would say about 3 months into MetaPower, I realized that my knee feels so much more stable. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe the cartilage around it is built up and is a lot more strong than it was before. But I don't have to use the brace, which is mind blowing. And I never, ever, I thought that I would play with that brace for the rest of my life, or at least as long as I decided to go out and play basketball. But that was a big deal. The other thing, I feel like I have all these things. I was like, I'm going to make notes of all the things that I've noticed that I love after meals. So I think I always call the Assist kind of like the sneaky product in the line, because it doesn't get all the glam and glitter of the other products like the collagen and the oil and all of that. But what I have found is that post meals, especially lunch, I try to switch to make lunch my biggest meal of the day. So I take the Assist with that, and I've noticed a significant like change in that after meal crash. Because I used to get it always like around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, I just need to put my head down for a few minutes, and that is gone. So like my energy is very sustained throughout the day. And my staff at work, they don't even know what to do with me anymore. They're like, please stop taking that stuff because you're about to drive us crazy. And then the other thing that was the most unexpected benefit for me was the skin changes. Um, I I had for probably about 15 years prior to MetaPower spent a lot of time and energy toward trying to um, improve my skin and get it to the best place possible. I was a proactive user for like 12 years. Like I was literally in a commercial. Like that was the last toxic thing for me to let go of was my skincare because I was terrified of what was going to happen. So transitioned to Virage, and life has been great, but I felt like my skin is probably about where it's going to be, like the best that it's going to be. And so I didn't really pay a lot of attention to that until my mom, my youngest, we had his birthday party in August. So this is probably about a month in to me being on the MetaPower. And she's like, what are you doing differently with your skin? Like your skincare, did you change something about your regimen? I'm like, no, I'm using the same products. And then I stopped and I was like, it's the collagen. It's the whole and she was like, what is this? I need it. I'm like, sorry, you can't have it until October, but but that really blew my mind that people were making comments about my skin glowing. And I found personally, I was not putting on makeup nearly as much. I just felt like everything looked good and we were good to go. So that, I would say those are the things that I noticed or have continued to notice from, I think we started July the 17th and have not missed a day of MetaPower. We are here in November. I have said that at some point, I will probably switch my regimen up more into like a maintenance mode, but I'm still not quite where I want to be. Still have a bit more work to do and we'll get there. But I think that this is something that I will always use like forever and ever. So I saw a couple of questions pop in about regimen and what my regimen is or has been. So I like to do the Advantage first thing in the morning, typically just with a little water on an empty stomach. So I will I'm normally up by 5:30 or 6 o'clock because I have to have some quiet time before the gremlins wake up, and that is it. So I normally will get my Advantage, my shaker, and do that then, and then eventually I'll have my breakfast. I'll do a MetaPower, either the soft gel or the oil. With each meal, I do the assist with my lunch because, like I said, I try to make that my biggest meal of the day, and then I have switched probably in the last 2 months with instead of just putting like citrus oils in my water, I just use the MetaPower oil in my water. And I found for me that my cravings during the day are way, way lower and a lot easier to manage because I'm constantly drinking that. And I do love the taste of it, but I will even play with it and add some wild orange or green mandarin to it just to switch up the flavor. But that has been my go-to oil for my water for the last couple of months. And that I felt a significant shift because my other big issue besides sweets is I'm a grazer. I just will snack all day. And Jessica shaking her head with me. Yes, girl. I will start off oh, that trail mix, that's 160 calories for one serving. You just ate the whole bag in 30 minutes. What's going on? So that really has helped me significantly. So I actually for a while, and I haven't been doing it as much anymore, and I'll probably will get back to that when I'm going out of town for my birthday in a couple of weeks. And I'm when I get back, I'm going to go back to super abusing mode because I was doing that for a while, right before, I guess within probably the last 3 weeks or so before convention, because I heard Emily talking about doing 2 of the Advantage a day, and I got lucky and got an extra box of Advantage for being a founder, and I was like, here we go. Time. So I did the morning one like I already told you, and then I would put the second Advantage in a protein shake mid-afternoon, so that would be my snack after lunch. But besides that, I feel like that's been pretty consistent for the last few months. And then I think the last thing before, I'm sure we have more questions that I didn't catch, but the last thing that we talked about, was the lifelong vitality. And a lot of people have asked that question, like, why do we need that if we have this? And they are two completely different product lines. And I know it feels like a lot to take or consume that much product in a day. And I know that it can be pricey, but I promise you, you will absolutely feel so good. And I did a presentation at convention about dynamic duo of lifelong vitality and MetaPower. And the reason why it's so important is that there are nutrients that we get in lifelong vitality that our body needs to have a healthy metabolism. I talked about a few of them, like the B vitamins, zinc, vitamin D, the omega-3s, magnesium, selenium. Like those are all nutrients that either help our metabolism function the way they should, or help to balance insulin levels in our bodies. And if our nutrient levels are deficient, MetaPower will still do its thing, right? It just won't be as effective. So I say that the lifelong vitality is an accelerant for MetaPower. It gives your body everything that it needs nutritionally so that your metabolism can actually get to where it needs to be. So going back to regimen, I'm a person who never liked the idea of taking 12 pills a day. Straight up, it's the reason it took me 2 years to try lifelong vitality. I just couldn't do it. And so even for the 5 years up until the summer that I've taken it, I split it up. Like I did breakfast dose, lunch dose, because I just could not fathom taking 12 at once. Well, guess what, y'all? Take all 12 with my breakfast now just to get it over. Because I noticed that I feel so much better when I take it, and my brain, like everything just works so much better together. So it is absolutely worth it. Your body needs those nutrients as well. So just knock it out. Just do it.
I love that, because you're right. There are so many things that we take, but doTERRA, it knows that they offer all of these options, and they're there for a reason, for a specific purpose. So
yeah.
When we combine all of the supplements together, it's there for a purpose. And, so I'm glad that you addressed that, because I know I have had those questions too. So I figure if I've had a few of those questions, and I know you've had a few of those questions, because we even addressed it at the post-convention tour, that is a question out there. So thank you very much, Ashley. If you want to take a peek, there are some questions in the chat.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And then maybe in the chat, you can reply back to them if that's easy. And if not, we can certainly do that we have kind of, I don't know if you plan on staying or not, if you have to get to your kiddos, but we do have some things at the end, kind of a after party for a couple minutes when we shut things down that we can address too. But
sure, I can hang on. I'll probably just turn my camera off for a minute while I make sure that they haven't broken.
Make sure the Betaverse working.
Yes.
So guys, if you have questions for Ashley specifically, please put them in the chat. Use the letter Q, colon or semicolon or Q something, and then to signify that I have a question. So that way it's super easy for us to spot that you have a question. And then Ashley will get to you, or one of us leaders will help address some of those for you. So we're going to transition into your testimonies that you guys have to share with us, but I'm going to hand this over to Leanne.
Awesome. Thank you, Tennille. Thank you so much, Ashley. It's so nice to hear all these testimonies. I'm excited to hear more, because I think we get kind of stuck thinking we're looking for one specific result out of this product line. And we all have such varied experiences with it, because all of our body chemistry is so different. So I am going to queue up. Mark, you are up first to share. Mark, are you there? You can unmute.
I am here.
Awesome. Good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm Mark Carey. Some of you might know my wife Taylor here. I've been using oils now about 7 years from when we started dating, and she told me about them. So fast forward now, after convention, she brings home Metapower. We started using it basically right after she got home from convention. And the first couple of weeks were just great, with more energy, getting out of bed easier, feeling more energy throughout the day. It was really good. About 2 weeks in, I guess should I backtrack a little bit? So I've been using tobacco now for 18 years. And about 2 weeks in with Metapower, I was using tobacco one day, chewing, and was like, I don't really want this. I don't crave this. And I just kind of decided to stop, which I didn't know if it was coincidence at the time or not, but I found through the time that, I heard all these testaments about food cravings and things like that, but I was using them with tobacco. I'd want a dip and take the Metapower beadlets with me to work, and I found myself having those cravings less and less as time went on. And now with Metapower every day, I'm 47 days now without using tobacco, and just been pretty significant in, I think, both of our lives.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. I so appreciate you sharing. And I think it's vulnerable to talk about things that we feel like we're addicted to. It's way better to say I'm addicted to sugar, right? But I love that this isn't just dealing with the things that we eat, it's really dealing with the things we consume all the way around. So I appreciate your willingness to shove your toddlers wherever you did, maybe put better too, and to share with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Mindy Cannon. And Mindy, if you are there, if you'll just unmute, and then you can also share.
Hello, hello. I have to turn my laptop sideways. It's really old. So I think I might be looking at you correctly now.
You are.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
good. So I started the Metapower system, and that shows the hair growth from August to October, which is quite significant, and it's longer and stronger. And I attribute that to all of the Metapower, as well as the new shampoo bars and conditioner, which I love, love, love. And so in addition to that, I'm having a lot less shortness of breath, significantly improved. So it was really neat when I filled out the survey the other day from Carrie and Gary that mentioned respiratory. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, it is better. Wow. So one of those things that just kind of evolved, and I'm very thankful for that. More focus and memory. I can remember to do things. I can remember to go from one side of the house to the other and remember what I'm doing. And I get there and I stop in my tracks. Like, I just why you're like, this has happened years. I still, make my to-do list so that I stay focused, but being able to remember things and thinking creatively now has come back, which had left for a long time. I used to be known for being creative all the time, and that kind of seemed to have taken a vacation, but I feel like that's back. So I'm very thankful for that. It's something I pray about. And deeper sleep, definitely deeper sleep. So that's my story. Thanks. Oh, but I do have one question. If anybody has any tips on acid reflux, I do feel like it might be the peppermint in the Advantage or in the Metapower blend, because I've also had the same problem when I take Tri-Ease and Digestin soft gels, which I love all of those, but then I kind of pay for the acid reflux. So if anybody has any tips, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mindy. I love the reminder just to continue to keep track. I love the beginning survey, kind of if you're starting, if you're not on day 30, I love the idea of get a a reading of where you are, even if it's not with a blood sugar monitor and all the like statistical stuff. But I think when we keep track of things, even just little jotting down notes, you realize how much everything is improved. Like you have such a long list, which I love.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks for your
Amazing.
willingness to share. And if you have
Thank
tips
you.
for her, make sure you add it in the chat. You can even just tag her. So thank you, Mindy.
Can
Thank
I
you.
interject something here real quick? Because I think it's so important that we're hearing from all kinds of people and reminders of all of the benefits that these MetaPower product line has done for us, because I completely negated the fact that my hair has not been falling out when I shower. I used to take like clumps of hair. Like people would ask me, how do you still have, like, the hair's all in the shower? How do you still have hair on your head? And it's not doing that I still lose some hair, but that's natural. But it was like a lot, and that has decreased a ton. So I didn't even associate it with the two, and that's exactly when it started improving. So thanks for that reminder.
Awesome. Okay, Jennifer Gray, you are up next. If you are there, just unmute yourself and we're ready to hear from you.
So I'm on day 30. So I am 43, not to give my age out, and I work in an old school building. So I do school-based therapy. Walking up and down the steps at school, I would walk kind of sideways and hold the rail. And it just kind of hit me one day. It was like, I didn't even hold the rail going down the steps just now. Like I haven't done that in a year. It was pretty cool. I mean, I still walk and I just can't run. It hurts that, pavement, and I was running trails mostly, not really road running, but now I can kind of lift my legs high enough to walk on the trails again, because it just hurt. I couldn't even bend my knees. So I'm at the point where I can bend them a little bit better. And again, like you were just saying with the hair loss, like I just got my hair cut maybe a month ago. I feel like I need a haircut again. Like it grows so fast, and I have little tiny baby hairs that are just like spiking all over. And I had 5 pregnancies. I had 2 children. I had 3 miscarriages. So after all the hormone stuff, I was losing a lot of hair, just like Tennille said, I was showering and pulling out handfuls of hair. So I no longer have that either. So fingers crossed, everything else keeps improving, but that's, 30 days in, if that's what I'm seeing, I'll take it.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I love that you're bending your knees without pain. And this just reminds me, I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story. I've got teenage boys, and all 3 of them actually play baseball. My oldest actually pitches. And so we're constantly dealing with connective tissue issues. And he is probably the least consistent of my group to take MetaPower, but I love that I have something that can help with just the integrity of their connective tissue. And I love that within 30 days, you saw such a profound difference. I think that's fantastic. So thanks for sharing. Okay, we are going to skip over to Gina Green. If you are there, Gina, you can unmute and then you can share.
Hello, I'm Gina. So I have notes because otherwise I'll be chasing squirrels everywhere. So actually, the 19th of this month will be 60 days for me. And I'm in love with MetaPower. I don't ever want to go back to the way my life was before. Had a lot of physical and emotional issues this year, dealing with retirement, a divorce, just very rough year. And I gained close to 30 pounds since last year. So I started the MetaPower, and of course, my objective was I want to lose weight. Woo, gonna lose some weight finally, something's gonna work. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is not about losing weight. It's about changing your metabolism. So with that, I have dropped 5 pounds, but I have also dropped 15 inches off of my body. And I'm wearing pants that I couldn't get into for convention. And I'm just shocked at how much I'm seeing the inflammation in my body go down. Especially, I noticed in my belly fat, I had a pretty significant muffin top that's almost gone. And I have not, you know, in the past, I would go on these crazy diets to lose weight, and I'm not doing that. I have a poor relationship with food emotionally. And so at the very beginning, I said, I'm not going to go on a diet. Now, what I have done is I do intermittent fasting. So I usually stop eating by 8, and I don't eat my first meal till about 12:30. I have a routine with my products that I'd like to share, because we're all different, but each product brings some value. I love the Advantage. I take that in the morning in my shaker with only 4 ounces, because I'm not that crazy about the taste. It doesn't taste like the Tang I remember, but you know, I'm just being honest here. So I just drink it, get it done. And that's usually around 11. And then around 12 or 12:30, I'll take an assist. And I will also take one of my MetaPower capsules. And then I wait the 30 to 40 minutes, and my lunch is primarily protein. In the beginning, I would just eat a regular lunch. And I'm going to try to address real quickly. Some of the people have mentioned some things. I did have gas very badly the first week or two, but I stopped eating like the heavy carbs at my lunch, and that dissipated. So at week 7, I stopped having the crazy carb cravings that I had had in the past. I also was less hungry. I feel like I'm having this amazing relationship with food now. Food tastes better, it smells better, it serves a purpose. It's really changed my life. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, in the first week, I slept like I'd never slept before. Woke up with tremendous energy. My son and I, we attempt to play tennis. I'm 60, my son is 13, so you can imagine the stress that I go through. But we play tennis to the best of our ability. And normally I couldn't last more than 15, 20 minutes. Let's go. Well, the last time we played last week, he's like, can we stop now? I said, what? It's only been 40 minutes. Yeah. So I think that was everything. I just basically, I noticed that, you know, people talk a lot about, oh, you're just losing water weight. Well, I use this new scale that we came out with, and it isn't water weight, it's the inflammation that we're seeing. Like we've got inflammation in our joints because our food selection, I shouldn't say I'm sorry, my food selections were not the healthiest. And what else? 5 pounds, did I say 5 inches off my waist? So that's pretty significant, 5 inches. And I also use the oils. The oil, I put it on my belly before I work out, and I put it on my belly at night before I go to bed. And yeah, I think that's it. I do have a picture if you want to see it. I have to put it on my computer because I don't know how to do all this stuff. Okay, let me turn my camera around. I think, can I turn my camera on? Oh, there. Okay, so that was, can you guys see that? Like, you see that? Okay, now this was week 6. So I'm just so proud of my belly loss. You can't, it just feels so good. So, all right, let me turn it back around, and thank you all for letting me share.
Oh, Gina, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing.
I hope I kept it all together. Sometimes I get talking and then I, lose sight of my notes. All right, I'm done.
You did beautifully. And I have to say that at 60 years old, I hope I look like you.
Oh, thank you.
You look beautiful. And thank you for your testimony. I love it, because it isn't just about weight loss. That's just a side benefit for some of us, right? So thank you for sharing. Okay, I'm trying to, this is going to be a little trick of mine. I'm trying to track down Steve Lippert, and I'm wondering if he might be sitting with Hallie. So Hallie, if you could unmute and just tell us yay or nay so we can figure out where we're going next.
Yes, Steve is here, and I'm sorry I forgot to change the name.
No worries. Thank you so much. All right, Steve, the floor is
Hi.
yours.
I'm delighted to be among such good company. I've appreciated what Gary and Carrie have done, and Mark and Lori, and just meeting so many of you. It's a delight. What I'm hoping for is that you're not saying that you don't want to look like me when you're 80. I'm not 80, I'm 82. And what has occurred with me is the excitement that not only is doTERRA talking about a different kind of life and a longer life, but one runs across, and we've heard Gary talking about this, David Sinclair. If you haven't had a chance to get this book, I really suggest that you get it, because Dr. Sinclair is not related to doTERRA, but he is talking about many of the same issues and the challenges, and he's saying some things in such a way that it's like a jolt. And he uses the example when the Wright brothers were talking about flying, all the excuses they heard. If the Lord wanted you to fly, then you'd be born with wings. And then people, when they were going to do some of their practice takeoffs, individuals would come not to cheer them on, but to laugh. And then they had a story to tell when they got to wherever they wanted to tell their story. And the one comment in Sinclair's book that I love is the Wright brothers are back in their workshop. And I think it's that mindset. I've been working with the MetaPower products for a couple months now. And I guess what for me is so exciting is that I'm just being, some people would say ridiculous, but I'm being a bit bold, and Hallie is bold along with me. I'm telling my kids and my grandkids, watch out, I'm going to be around here for 115, maybe 120 years, Lord willing. And so I guess I'm saying for some of you, I forgot the numbers went down that far. But for folks that are, you're talking about your parents or maybe your grandparents, they really can benefit from this type of thing. And I love Sinclair's comment that aging is a disease, and it's a disease that's treatable. And I think, oh my goodness, doTERRA is turning the world upside down. And just the science community in other areas that maybe have not been directly related to what doTERRA has been doing and what they've been working so hard on, that they too are seeing some of the same things. And so if you are saying to others, this isn't just a product, it's maybe it should be named not Meta PWR, maybe it should be named Meta What If, and the what ifs are possible.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I think you look fabulous for 82. And I love your story. One of the first persons I told about doTERRA MetaPower was my grandfather, who's 84 years old. So I'm gonna send him this recording so he can hear you as well, because sometimes people need to hear from people in their own stage of life. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to Doris Corey. If you are there, you can unmute and then you can also share.
Thank you. I'm here. I appreciate the opportunity to give my testimony. I was so excited about MetaPower and could not wait to get my hands on the whole system. And so in preparation for it, I cut coffee out before I started the MetaPower, so I could really tell whether the energy was coming from caffeine source versus MetaPower. And I was amazed by the amount of energy that I had, sleeping well, waking up rested, ready to go, not craving the coffee. I did have a couple days of headaches. And initially, as I weaned off of that addiction, within a week, the first thing I started to notice is that my chin started to develop. And I don't have a before and after picture to show you, but my before picture, there is no chin. It just goes straight down. And every day, when I looked in the mirror, I thought, I can see more of my chin. It's actually developing. And so it was amazing to see that transformation in my face. And I've done a few events where I've had before and after pictures, and people are drawn to it. It's pretty amazing. So I also decided to cut out all my sugar at the same time. And what I found is that I stopped craving the sugar. I started craving water, greens. I was throwing more spinach in my protein shakes. I really started craving healthier things, healthier choices, and even exercise. By the end of week 2, I had released, I think it was between 6 and 8 pounds, but 12 inches. And so that was phenomenal. Between weeks 3 and week 5, our family had 4 unexpected deaths. And we were so blessed by people showing up with all these comfort foods and cakes and pies and cookies. And I have to admit that I indulged. I needed those comforts, during that very difficult time we were trying to go through. But what I did realize is that my weight has stayed consistently the same. My measurements have stayed consistently the same. So it's so much easier to get back on track with cutting the sugar out again. And the real miracle has been that through all of those losses our family was walking through, my mood was stable through the whole thing. Like, I didn't find myself tanking. I could feel a very solid difference in how I was coping emotionally, despite everything that we were going through. And I started to notice that my voice is stronger, my lung capacity is stronger, and I am finally, after a year away from it, back in the choir and singing praises at church. And that is something that I haven't been able to do in the last year. So I am forever, forever, ever grateful for doTERRA and the difference that MetaPower is making in my life and those around me that are using it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Doris. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your family. And I'm also so thankful for the way you've been able to give your own story regarding MetaPower in the midst of life, right? Because we're all going to walk through loss. We're going to walk through grieving. And I love that you can find the stability that your body didn't have beforehand. So thanks for being willing to share with us. And your testimony is amazing. So that was very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that is going to round out for the sake of our evening, so we don't sit here. We could probably all spend 3 to 5 minutes sharing with one another what we have experienced with MetaPower. So we don't have time for that, and nor do you really want to stay on your computer all night. So we respect that. I'm going to go ahead and pass the torch over to Carrie. We promised a special announcement regarding our class with Dr. O, and I'm going to pass it off to her so she can give you all the details.
While we're doing that, can I want to answer a question that was in the chat that Lynn had asked earlier. I have an official response from doTERRA about taking the MetaPower Assist, not Advantage, Assist with Terrazyme. Okay, So I wanted to put this kind of in the video so that way we can all benefit from this when we see the recording. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this. This first word is amylase. What is that? It's a digestive enzyme.
Amylase.
AMY. What is it?
Amylase.
Say that again.
Amylase.
Amylase, okay, is the digestive enzyme in Terrazyme responsible for breaking down carbs and allowing them to be absorbed easily. Terrazyme will break them down just fine, but if you take them together with MetaPower Assist, the absorption will be reduced. The Terrazyme has many other digestive enzymes, so if you're not concerned about needing the enzyme for carbs, but still needing help with the breaking down and absorption of proteins, fats, etc., then taking these two products together is no problem. Okay, that's the official doTERRA response to the question that Lynn was asking specifically.
Well, thanks so much, Tennille. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So on it. All right, Carrie, are you there?
I'm here. I am here. Oh my goodness gracious. You all have gotten me so emotional. I'm trying not to sob, honestly. Like, it's been really powerful hearing their stories. And I don't know, I think I feel a little bit like mama hen over a lot of you. And it's just overwhelming. And really what I wanted to share, even though there's not much time, but I just wanted to say for all of you listening in that maybe aren't having any radical experience that you're feeling. Maybe there's people out there that have been trying these products and you're not feeling anything dramatic and you're not having weight fall off that you were hoping, or maybe you're not able to identify with some of these stories. I want to speak to all of you out there. And I want to speak to all of you that are also considering trying this, and maybe you have your own laundry list of things that you want to address, but when you try these products, guess what? It might not be those things that you see a difference right away, because our body chemistry is so different. And I want you to go back and re-listen to the recording that Laura Jacobs in that class, if you were here and you remember that she talked about the things that are, when we're talking about metabolic health, that it's not always our own personal laundry list of things that need to be addressed that are going to happen right away. But you can be sure that when you know the science behind what the ingredients are in these products that we're taking, that there are so many dynamic things happening at a cellular level that we may not see it all tomorrow. But what you can be sure of, and I love what you shared, Steve, because like the reason I need to get it together, I'm pulling it together. Okay. Like the reason I'm taking all of this is because of what you shared. Like, I've had a lot of grandparents that like, I don't want to be a sitting duck with those kind of things as my, just waiting. I want to do whatever I can today to be proactive so that I can be an active grandma someday, and that I can be living longer with more life in my years, not because the medical system is keeping me alive, but because of at a cellular level, I have healthy cells. So that is why I'm taking these products. And you know what? If I feel any notable benefit tomorrow or next week or next month, then that is just a cherry on top. That is all just extra frosting on the cake, in my personal opinion, because I know that this is addressing lifespan, longevity, and a lot of that stuff we won't notice until we get to be 20 years down the road and we're still feeling awesome and healthy. That's what I want. That's what I'm signing up for. And that's also why I take my lifelong vitality every single day. Sometimes it's a pain to swallow those different things and make these things a habit, but I know the science behind it, and I am passionate about wanting to set an example for my kids and be around for my kids and their kids. So that's what I just want to speak to all of you. And I want us to keep sharing these stories, because the little thing, and pay attention and journal, because maybe you're not going to have your laundry list of items might not get it, be met in the same way that you're hoping, but you will notice things happening when you pay attention and you journal it. So thank you to all of you that were vulnerable and shared.